What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com. If you're a blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. I don't even know. What movie is this in the SpongeBob universe? Because we have ones that haven't gone theatrical. We have the spin-offs. We have the Sandy Cheeks one and the Plankton one. How Patrick doesn't have his own movie yet, but he has his own TV show is just beyond me. How we went with a Sandy Cheeks movie and a Plankton movie before we went with a Patrick movie, is he's by far the most entertaining thing here. Like, they still know how to write Patrick just perfectly, just 100%. Uh, Anytime I laughed, it was because something Patrick said. There's a scene where they do a thing where they read sort of like a terms and conditions type of thing really fast, and somehow Patrick understands it, and they keep asking him, like, how did you? And he's like, I don't know. Um, so SpongeBob the Search for SquarePants obviously has audio description. I have thoughts, good and bad, plus and minus thoughts. So my thoughts on this is very well written. I appreciate the fact that from a writing standpoint, um, that they went with words that meet kids where they are, like fart and booger, you know? Like, they didn't try to find ways around it and elevate it for adults. Now, the narrator choice, I feel like, is not as engaging as it could be for children. Not that I don't love this narrator. I know who this narrator is, and I love her. She's great. It's not somebody I would have picked for SpongeBob, just like some of the narrators that I would have picked for SpongeBob, I wouldn't pick for like other things. Um, I love Tristan Snyder, for example, on kids projects. I think he has a really nice voice for this type of thing. But like on Hamnet, I think he would be distracting. Like there's some things where it's just like it. We have to think about casting. Like if we want to talk about like human element and audio description, there is casting to it, just like there is for the roles in these things. We can't just these studios, Deluxe and uh I don't know who made this Icon, 3Play, Pixelogic, DVW, IDC, Media Access, whoever it was, you know, um, we can't just pick from our stable. Like, you have to think about the voice talent that's in the industry as being like your, uh, sandbox, and you get to play in it and you get to pick who you want and bring them into the project and pick the right person. And yes, there are a lot of great people who are sort of widely accessible, but then there's some people who feel more right for certain genres and certain projects. And then you have the thing of consistency within a genre. Like, once you have started and we are starting to make sequels, wouldn't it be cool to have the same narrator for all of the things, or for a TV show for future seasons? So there's a lot to think about there. If we want to continue to make the argument that humans should be doing this instead of letting these companies develop an AI to do it for you, in which case the whole industry will get unemployed real fast. Because once it becomes a click of a button, goodbye. Goodbye to all the writers, the narrators, the quality control, the engineers, and the executives who run these companies who think, I have a paycheck. No, you don't. So take every single chance, every single decision that you make seriously. And do I think a better voice could have been chosen for a kids movie? I do. I think there are more engaging voices for kids. This was rather flat if I was trying to take a kid to see this. However, I was thinking to myself, SpongeBob has been around so long that I don't even know who he's for anymore at this point. Because SpongeBob is the type of movie where you can look out at the audience and you'll see just dudes who look like me sitting there with no kids. And it shouldn't weird you, because those are going to be the guys who grew up with SpongeBob. Like, he's actually been actively making new content long enough that if you started off as a kid watching SpongeBob, right? Let's say you were 10 or something when SpongeBob came on the air, you would be of the age to be an adult, full adult, with a kid who's now watching SpongeBob. SpongeBob has now come full circle. He's one of those franchises like Ninja Turtles where the parents and the kids can enjoy him, much like the superheroes. Like, let's be honest. When parents take their kids to see the stuff like Superman and Batman, they read those comic books, you know? But now those characters like Superman and Batman have been around for so long. You can have like grandpa, you can have everybody, the whole family in there being like, I remember reading this back in my day. So yeah, SpongeBob has actually become one of those franchises where it has fans who are just grown adults. And that's not abnormal because, sort of like with everything else, we've been making SpongeBob movies as long as we've been making Fast and Furious movies. I don't know if you put that together. But about the same time, we started making Fast and Furious movies, we started making SpongeBob movies. So, SpongeBob has been around about the same amount of time Family Guy has been around. So, these are not, these are things that have just been around in perpetuity for quite a long time. And I don't know who he's for. The film is okay. It's fine. It's whatever. It's kind of a odd story. I was like, I don't know that this is gonna rake in the big bucks, guys. I feel like we're running out of adventures for SpongeBob at this point. So the whole movie is based on the fact that SpongeBob is afraid to get on a roller coaster. That's the whole thing. That's the movie. The end. I saved you time and money. So he's too afraid to get on a roller coaster with Patrick. So he makes up a story about how he doesn't want to go on the roller coaster because he promised to go on it with Mr. Krabs. And so Mr. Krabs helps him out by pretending like, oh yeah, no, yeah, I promised I'd go on it with you, but we can't yet today because we have to do work. And eventually has this speech about SpongeBob being a big boy and or is it big boy or big man? I don't know. Something about it. I think it's big boy or something like that, where he has to grow up, but he wants to be a big boy, and it leads him on this adventure where he runs into this um, ghost sea captain that traverses the underworld and clearly is manipulating SpongeBob, and you know, very he's the Dutchman, right? So like the Flying Dutchman, like the ship, and he's the Dutchman. It's all of the jokes are there, all of the jokes for adults to get. Um, so SpongeBob and of course Patrick comes along for the ride. They go off with the ghost pirates on the adventure, which SpongeBob is trying to learn how to become a big boy so that he can be brave enough to ride a roller coaster. And I'm not kidding. On the other side, once Mr. Krabs realizes what's happened, he decides to team up with Squidward and Gary to rescue SpongeBob from the ghost pirate. So they go on their own adventure to Sandy's not really in the movie, and they kind of make a joke about it, like halfway through the movie, like they forgot to write Sandy into the movie, and then there's like a gag where they're like, wait a minute, where's Sandy? um Gary's in the movie more than Sandy is. It's so weird. It's so weird. Not that Gary isn't an important part to SpongeBob, but because he's part of the trio that goes, you know, to rescue SpongeBob and Patrick. So there is like an adventure and there are these series of tests, and of course the pirates are really serious and SpongeBob and Patrick are really goofy, and they get through the tests because of their goofiness and their sort of like childlike way of approaching things, and the pirates are the Dutchman doesn't like Patrick and sees him as a distraction, so is trying to pull SpongeBob away from Patrick and break up their friendship. And it's got a whole bunch of different ideas like that. Eventually, yes, they're gonna go on the into live action for a little while and be up on the sand like they usually do, which is what makes these things cinematic as opposed to just another part of another episode on SpongeBob. But I don't know. I mean, it was fine. I didn't hate it. I laughed a couple times. I love SpongeBob. It's hard to hate these things because, like, well, how do you make a bad SpongeBob movie? Even with stuff like Plankton and Sandy Cheeks, which I know people weren't like crazy about, I thought they were fine. Like, there's nothing here that I would say is rotten that's I've ever been in the SpongeBob universe. Where I'm like, oh no, oh my god. But it's also just like I think in large part they've had a really hard time getting that feature length stuff going in there where the story feels like the grandest adventure you could possibly have for SpongeBob. It always feels like it's an adventure that SpongeBob is having, just not the grandest adventure. And the fact the catalyst here is like SpongeBob doesn't want to ride a roller coaster. It's kind of just highlights the fact that do we have ideas anymore? Um, if anything, I thought Sandy Cheeks' movie where somebody took like all of Barnacle, all of the like the whole town like into this thing, and then it was up to Sandy to rescue them. I thought that was more, epic and iconic in and of itself of like a thing to happen than there's also Sponge Out of Water felt iconic too because you had those 3D animated versions, a little like Nightmare Fuel, but also it was a cool concept when they fought Antonio Banderas. Here, the two big new voice casts are Regina Hall and Mark Hamill, playing Barb and the Dutchman. And I did not recognize Mark Hamill's voice at all. To be totally honest, it really, to me, sounded like Krabs just doing like a different voice. That Clancy Brown was just doing a slightly different modification to his voice. So when I found out it was Mark Hamill, I was like, oh my god, that man is he just slips into anything. um, so that's the plus side for Mark Hamill fans who miss him as a voice actor because he's such an excellent voice talent. Of course, his Joker is iconic. He's here as the Dutchman, and it's more great work from Mark Hamill. I wish we could give him an award for something, an Oscar. Does he have an? Can we give him an honorary? He needs an honorary by now. Like Mark Hamill needs an honorary Oscar. So, yeah, I liked it. I just didn't love it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think for everyone who looks at this movie and goes, "This is for me. My kids will like this. Everybody will like it." It's just is not going to be on anybody's top of the year list. It's never going to be anybody's like, "Oh, my favorite movie of all time. Oh, my favorite SpongeBob movie. Oh my god, I loved it. Watch it 20 times. Might watch it a couple times just because you watch SpongeBob content anyway." It has some good jokes to it. It has everything that you would have expected it to have. It's not like next level. I don't know that they'll ever be able to do that. They have glimmers where they take something and they have an idea. Even the SpongeBob musical has at least like a flavor of something different. I don't know that this really does, but it does have Mark Hamill, so kudos. Um, anyway, it's weird because technically I could say this is the movie where SpongeBob dies because of how the mechanics of the movie work. I mean, he travels into the underworld, and at one point he becomes a ghost, and how do you become a ghost? Because you die, right? Of course, the film's not going to say that, but is. So, SpongeBob dies in this movie. So I guess that in and of itself could make it intriguing and interesting if you want to approach it from a really overly dramatic, interpretive standpoint. But for the most part, it's still a movie about how SpongeBob was too afraid to ride a roller coaster. And for that, I'm going to give it a 6.8 out of 10. I'm fresh, but I don't need to we don't need to give it a high score. It can be fresh. It's fine. Um, this is one of those things too where people go on the tomato meter and they're like, "How is this so high?" And it's like, because I just like Rotten. It did what I thought it was gonna do. It just didn't like fully exceed my expectations. I thought it was gonna feel exactly like a SpongeBob sequel, like all of the other ones have felt like, and it did. So I'm not disappointed, and I think nearly everyone who watches this movie will also not be disappointed by it. So, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.